For more than 4 decades, one man has stood at the helm of Cameroon, Paul Biya. His rule has shaped the nation's destiny, leaving an indelible mark on its politics, society, and international standing. Biya's leadership has been both praised for its stability and criticized for its iron grip, with many Cameroonians knowing no other president in their lifetime. But time waits for no dictator, and even the most entrenched leaders must eventually face the realities of age and change. Biya, now in his 90s, is visibly frailer, and the question of what comes next is more urgent than ever. Across the country, a sense of anticipation is building. The silence that once surrounded Biya's future is giving way to open debate, protest, and hope for something new. Cameroonians are gathering in the streets, their voices growing louder as they demand answers and accountability. As of June 2025, Cameroon stands at a historic crossroads. The choices made in the coming months will shape not only the nation's future, but also its place in a rapidly changing Africa. Years of economic stagnation, persistent internal conflict, and growing uncertainty have eroded the regime's once unshakable stability. Many families struggle to make ends meet, while violence and unrest simmer in several regions. The question of succession, once taboo and whispered only in private, is now the central drama of Cameroonian politics. Political commentators, journalists, and ordinary citizens alike are speculating about who might take the reins. With Biya in his 90s and the next presidential election looming on the horizon, the nation holds its breath. The uncertainty is palpable, and the stakes have never felt higher. Will Biya attempt to extend his rule yet again, defying age and opposition? Or will mounting pressures from within and outside his party finally force a transition of power? The stakes are high. Cameroon could witness a peaceful transfer of power for the first time in generations, or it could plunge into a destabilizing vacuum that threatens the fragile peace. In this video, we'll delve into Biya's long and controversial rule, the rise of a determined opposition, the fierce battle for succession, and the broader context of change sweeping across Africa's political landscape. Cameroon's next steps matter, not just for its people, but for the entire region. The world is watching, and the outcome will echo far beyond its borders. Paul Biya became president in 1982, quickly earning a reputation for ruling by silence and absence. His aloofness kept ministers in check, consolidating power within a tight inner circle. Multi-party elections arrived in the 1990s, but every vote since has been marred by fraud and intimidation, ensuring Biya's grip. The president's silence during crises, especially the Anglophone conflict, now signals weakness, not strength. Corruption has flourished, poverty persists, and at 93, Biya's frailty mirrors a system many believe has run its course. The once mystical silence now breeds anxiety as factions scramble to fill the looming power vacuum. Open criticism of Biya was once rare, but now powerful voices are demanding change. The Catholic Church, long a pillar of society, has called for a peaceful transition, echoing the exhaustion of millions. Civil society groups are documenting abuses and challenging the regime's narrative, both at home and abroad. Their advocacy has spotlighted the Anglophone crisis and systemic corruption, fueling international pressure. The convergence of religious and civil voices has pushed the demand for change into the mainstream. Calls for dialogue and accountability can no longer be ignored. As opposition grows, the regime has doubled down on repression. Arrests of activists and journalists, like the murder of Martinez Zogo, send chilling warnings. Media censorship and surveillance have intensified, shrinking the space for dissent. The government uses ongoing conflicts as a pretext to curtail civil liberties and target opposition. This crackdown reveals a regime gripped by fear, relying on force instead of legitimacy. But repression only deepens public resentment, pushing Cameroon closer to a breaking point. The real battle for Cameroon's future is unfolding behind closed doors. With no clear successor, rival factions within the regime are locked in a high-stakes struggle for power. Ferdinand Ngo, the president's powerful secretary-general, leads one camp, representing continuity in the old guard. The other contender is Paul Biya, the president's son, whose supporters push for a dynastic handover. This infighting has already destabilized the government, with high-profile arrests and investigations used as weapons. As the succession battle intensifies, the risk of chaos and violence grows. The nation's stability hangs in the balance. While dissent is stifled at home, with authorities cracking down on protests and silencing critical voices, the struggle for change has not been extinguished. Instead, it has found new life beyond Cameroon's borders. Across Europe and North America, the Cameroonian diaspora is amplifying the call for change abroad, organizing rallies and demonstrations in major cities to draw international attention to the crisis. Exiled activists use social media and international platforms to expose abuses, share first-hand accounts, and mobilize support from global audiences. Their voices, once suppressed at home, now echo across continents. Their digital campaigns and protests keep Cameroon's crisis on the global agenda, ensuring that the plight of their homeland is not ignored by the world's media or policymakers. Through petitions, public demonstrations, and direct appeals, they are pressuring foreign governments to respond and take a stand. The diaspora's persistent lobbying has influenced statements from France, prompting debates and official responses that would have been unlikely without their efforts. The United States and the European Union have also been compelled to address the situation, as diaspora-led advocacy brings Cameroon's crisis to the forefront of international diplomacy. These actions signal growing impatience with the regime and a rising demand for accountability from the international community. This external pressure, combined with internal resistance, creates a two-front challenge the government struggles to contain. The world is watching closely, and the stakes are higher than ever. Through vigils, candlelight ceremonies, and persistent advocacy, the diaspora ensures Cameroon's struggle for democracy isn't forgotten, keeping hope alive for millions. Their relentless advocacy is shaping the narrative and raising the stakes for Cameroon's future as they continue to fight for justice, freedom, and lasting change. Cameroon's crisis is part of a larger wave of change sweeping West and Central Africa. Recent coups in Gabon, Niger, and Mali have toppled autocrats, while Senegal's peaceful transition offers hope. Gabon's coup shattered the illusion of dynastic succession, sending a warning to Cameroon's elite. Meanwhile, Senegal's example inspires opposition and civil society to believe in peaceful change. Cameroon stands at a crossroads between military upheaval and democratic renewal. The outcome will shape not just Cameroon, but the region's future. The world is watching to see which path it will choose. For decades, Biya's silence was a symbol of unchallenged authority. His quiet presence alone was enough to keep rivals at bay and the nation in check. But today, that same silence has become a source of anxiety, casting a long shadow over Cameroon and leaving millions uncertain about what comes next. Cameroon now stands at a critical crossroads, its future more ambiguous and precarious than ever before. The choices made in the coming months will shape the destiny of a nation, and the stakes could not be higher. As the 2025 election approaches, the hopes and fears of 28 million Cameroonians hang in the balance. Every conversation in the markets, every gathering in the cities, is charged with anticipation and uncertainty. If the succession is manipulated, or if Biya clings to power for yet another term, the risk of unrest, deepening conflict, and economic hardship will only grow. The fragile peace that exists today could quickly unravel. A chaotic power struggle, with competing factions vying for control, could fracture the state and threaten the very fabric of Cameroonian society. Yet, there is still hope. A peaceful, negotiated transition, driven by the courage and determination of civil society and religious leaders, remains within reach. Their efforts could pave the way for a new era of stability and unity. The world is watching closely, but ultimately, it is the people of Cameroon who will determine their own future. Their choices, their voices, and their resilience will shape what comes next. The era of unquestioned rule is drawing to a close. Now begins the true struggle for Cameroon's soul, one shaped by hope, uncertainty, and the fight for real change. This is Insight Africa, where truth meets transformation.